Welcome back, guys. We are here looking at MechaGodzilla 2002 from Bandai Namco. Yes, we are continuing opening these action figures. If you watched our last video, we opened up Godzilla 2004. So today it's Kiryu's turn, and we're going to see how he stacks up against Godzilla and if this action figure line is truly worth it. So as always, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So, MechaGodzilla 2002. So, there he is on the side. So, on the back. So, as you saw, we already opened up Godzilla. We're opening up this bad boy. That is the side. There's the top. And all your legal mumbo jumbo down here. So, like I pointed out in the last video, these are the same packaging as Bandai Namco's Gundam line. If you're a collector of that, you'll recognize the style right off the bat. If not, yeah. So they come in these pretty much book-size packaging. I kind of dig them. Although the one thing I did learn, and I'm already can tell you that I'm seeing the same thing, is that where Gundam is much more humanoid and just pretty much fits right inside there. Packaging these guys, these Godzillas, be clear with that. In this means that they had to get a little creative with it. So you'll see what I mean. If you didn't see the last video, you'll see in just a second. So let's get this guy open. So this is what I mean. His entire right side is completely and you know it's already fallen out, so yeah, why are we beating around the bush? And as you can see here, so Kiryu is missing half of his self, so his entire right side has to be assembled. So leg, arm, tail is actually in one piece. I believe Godzilla had to assemble that tail in two pieces, and he comes with a beam effect just like Godzilla 2004 did. So these are all the pieces you get in the box, and as I said in the last video, there is something off-putting about having to halfway assemble your action figure. I'm curious if they could have figured out a better means of the packaging, but it is what it is. Now you might be asking, hey, why do you care if you have to assemble? Well, here's the thing. These are technically sold to adult collectors, but they are meant for kids. 1000%. These are kids' toys. And they are about the same quality of like a Marvel Legends or even, say, a McFarlane, like DC Universe kind of figure. Also technically aimed at adult collectors, but they're also kids' toys. Let's not beat around the bush here. So having to assemble all of this stuff, and considering that, well, if you're popping this together, these things can pop off, and you lose pieces. I don't know about you, but as a kid, anything that had little pieces like extra armor or missiles and stuff, all that ended up getting lost. So my biggest critique thus far of this line has been the way that this thing has been packaged. But that said, let's move on. Let's assemble. Let's get this guy up, and then we can fully review the quality of this bad boy. Okay, we're gonna start with the leg. As you can see, there is the joint. There's the ball. So what I learned with the last one, you gotta make sure that clicks. So let's get that. And you hear that click? That means it's in there. Make sure it's good and taut. The one upside is that compared to Godzilla, I don't have to put the foot on Kiryu here. So I don't know why in the last figure they had the foot in a completely different socket space, but it is what it is. Well, all right, let's go arm. Again, right there. Actually, this looks very much like the 93 film with the low-grade CG putting MechaGodzilla together. So there's the socket. Let's get him in there. Make sure you hear the click. And there's the click. Okay. He's solid. Take Take that out of the way. And then finally, the tail. So there's your socket joint, ball. This is what I'm talking about right there. Okay, let me do this over. All right, I decided to skip the popping the tail lane. You got the idea. I mean, look, indentations, my freaking finger putting that stuff in there. So like I said, assembling this thing so far is the biggest downside to this entire line. Kiryu stands at roughly 5.5 inches tall, standard action figure length. Height, stands at action figure height. I'm not on my game today, guys. I apologize. So he is fully articulated though. So as you can see, the hips completely move. He has a nice knee joint. There is swivel. The foot completely swivels as well, giving you a nice dynamic range. So he can stand as is, as you can see. There is no movement at the chest, so you're kind of stuck there. The back half of the tail has a swing, swivel, and then the lower back has that. So you can kind of get a little bit in there, but be careful, it does easily pop out. We already ran into that issue once, so I can see this becoming a thing, especially with wear and tear. The arm joints have a good full rotations. You can hear that click, so you get a good 360. Elbow joints right there come up in the swivel, and then the hand is also completely on a swivel, giving you the full body movement. The head, the neck is actually on a nice swivel joint, so it gives you some variety of movement. And then the jaw kind of opens and closes. I don't know if you can really see. It's not too much, but it is what it is. And thus makes an action figure. He does really show off the action figure quality of it. As a standard action figure for $25, he's pretty basic, but the sculpt on it is actually pretty good, all things considered. I mean, we've all seen some really badly molded action figures. The size means you're not going to get super detailing, but the paint job is actually very nice. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. As I was saying with the sculpt is actually very well done. I am quite happy with it. There is some minor detailing in what I call the wire works down here in the legs, under the Under Armour joints, if you will. Because remember, technically, he's supposed to be a cyborg, not a full-on robot. But there you go. So, he's not bad. I kind of dig him. If you have a kid, this is right up their alley. This is absolutely perfect for children. If you have a kid that's getting into Godzilla, like I said with the 2004 review, this is spot on for them. It's who these action figures are made for. Unless you're like an action figure enthusiast and you're not a vinyl person like I am, that's what these are meant for. Even though they cost roughly about the same amount as the vinyls, and the vinyls tend to be just a smidgen bigger depending on which one you get. But vinyls, you don't get any real articulation. You get maybe arms and legs, and that's it. Here, you can give Kiryu a very dynamic pose. Also, if you're an artist and you need references, these work as well. Clearly, they are nowhere near as posable as an SH Monster Arts or even the Hayas, but those are far more expensive. This one is a mass retail figure, and that's about what you're going to get for your $25. So we got one last thing. Let's look at the beam effect before we wrap this bad boy up. Okay, so there should be a jaw joint right there. Just pops out, as you can see. So as you can see, that's where the mouth goes. So there is his lower jaw with the beam. Goes right in there. Actually, yeah, I didn't have as much of a problem with this as I did with the 2004 Godzilla. But there you go. Full beam effect. It's in a nice webbing to give that electrified kind of dynamic look. I do appreciate them giving the beam effects. That is an upside. Even as a little kid, when I had, my Imperial, whatever, few Bandais my dad got a hold of it back in the 90s. But having the beam effect really does add to the playability of these things. So, let me grab 2004 so I can really compare and contrast these two. So here you go. So these are the first two of the line. There is a -1 that is coming out this November. I'll try to get a hold of it and do a review when it comes out. But overall, in terms of like full-fledged, screen-accurate Godzilla action figures, because I know some of you might be saying, hey, we had action figures before. They're the Trendmasters one. Yes, we did. But only a handful at best were movie accurate. Those were much more stylized to kind of look like more comic book style Godzillas. This is, you're getting suit accuracy more often than not. Of the two, honestly, I had less of a hassle with Kiryu than I had putting Godzilla together. Like I said, I don't know why his foot was completely separate. But, for 5.5-inch action figures at $25 a pop, it is what it is. This is the current market that we live in. But for kids, these are perfect. If you are, the holidays are right around the corner as of the recording of this video. If you're looking for something to give that young one that's really into Godzilla now, these are not a bad way to go. They have a lot of playability. Just me doing dumb stuff. But if you don't want to give your kid that super expensive Bandai figure, and I know even when I was a kid, I wanted some mobility. Especially when you're playing with stuff, you want to act out your battles in your head and your other things. These are absolutely perfect. Are they the best action figure? No. But are they a quality? Yes. I'll give them that. I'll give them full on that they are a quality action figure. They're just a smidgen pricey, but those are the times that we live in. Overall, thumbs up. I kind of dig these guys, and I'm curious to see what Bandai Namco does with the rest of this line. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Remember, if you like what you see, we do have a show. It's called The Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com. And if you don't like to download, you can always find us on all of your favorite podcast streamers, including Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you find better podcasts. We're also on social media. It's right there. You're looking at it. I don't need to list it off for you, but there you go. All right, on that note, that will do it for this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.